Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
She has been gold medalist and rank holder from the university and has been awarded the Best Media Educator Award in the 2018 by Excellence for Media, New Delhi. She had completed project from UNICEF on development reporting on adolescent and has been freelance journalist and has contributed to Times of India, Indian Express and various issues. She has received the Indo-Sri Lanka Fellowship in the year 2019 to visit Colombo for upgrading the syllabus pertaining to media education in Sri Lanka. She has produced 12 PhD students. At present, 8 of them are pursuing their research under her. Madam, I welcome you on behalf of SRDC and all the participants. I over to you.
Thank you.
Welcome you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Very good afternoon, one and all. It's my immense pleasure to be here in the online mode to have a session. Actually, I've been visiting HRDC Gujarat last time when I was there. JP sir was there, and I would meet Preeti ma'am, everybody. But I know due to this pandemic, we have switched over to the online one. And I'm very thankful to the HRDC Gujarat University for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts on the topic. And as I come from the different, I was just listening to Vani sir, so where he was speaking about the pedagogy, the way he was telling about the e-content and all. So my topic or my presentation would be completely different from that of it because I come from the media background. But keeping in view the whole thing about your course, whatever your people are doing, I'm trying to speak to you people more on the information, especially how the information has to be done during the pandemic. Because as we all know, this pandemic has pushed us to the backward kind of a thing. The whole of the scenario, the whole of the situation, socially, economically, politically, culturally, we have gone back. But what remains constant is the information, the flow of information to the people, to keep them abreast, to keep them know what is happening in and around them, because without information everybody is a big zero. So we need to keep concentrating more on the information. So but when you look into the media, when we speak of media, I have a presentation. I'll be sharing the presentation with you all, but I'll be trying to keep the session very simple. At the same time, with some good case studies, I'll be speaking about how the whole study here, as I told you, it is completely different from what you people have been studying or what you people have been doing all these days. So here I'll be focusing more on the media. What is a media's role, especially in contact with the social media? Because today we don't only speak about the traditional media, but we speak more on the social media. With this pandemic, there are a lot of information flow which is happening on the social media, which can be very disturbing sometimes, which can be misinformation sometimes, because it may not lead to a proper kind of an information, which is trying to push the people to different kind of a situation. So my whole presentation would be on those lines. So can I share my PPT? So my whole presentation here will be on speaking towards the kind of trend what we have, especially in the social media, how the content has been generated in the social media, and how this particular way of presentation or the way of content which is being generated in the social media in the form of a communication has set a new trend. And keeping in view the pandemic can be there, keeping in view the kind of changes which has happened in the education system, the kind of changes which has happened in the different scenario, I'll be speaking about that. The very first thing what I'll be dealing in this particular session will be on these lines. One is, in this session we'll be trying to understand, all our teachers here, but still it is to, because when it comes to media, the way we define the media is completely different, the way we say information is completely different. So in this particular session I'll be dealing with to know what more information is all about, and also how this information is different to different people. So being educated, we understand, because we come from a different cultural background, we come from a different educational background, we come from the different kinds of ideologies and all. So the way this information is understood, the way this information is understood or perceived to the people in different way that needs to be understood. Then at the same time, what are different types of information? So when we say information, it's not only one. There are different kinds of information which needs to be understood. So we'll be dealing with that also. And here I'm concentrating more on the fake content. The kind, when I say information, today you look into any kind of a media concept, especially in social media, there are more and more number of the fake content, the content which is not believable, the content which is completely created, the content which is completely manipulated. So I want to tell you, or I want to share more on this fake content. What are different kinds of fake content which we usually see? Because today we each and every one of us are so engrossed with our social media. We are so engrossed with the kind of content which comes to us through FB or maybe through WhatsApp or through our Twitter account. It's completely overloaded. There is an overflowing of information which is there. So I'll also tell you about how to deal with it, because we are all educated people. But when it comes to the passing of the information, it can be to our students, it can be to our friends, or it can be to the family or to any of the primary circle. So there are different things which we need to deal with it. So I'll also be trying to tell you about that. So why information? Why, when I say information, why it is so important today? Okay, because everybody are running behind information. Everybody, people, you just take up a television channel, there are hundreds of television channels. You take up a newspaper, there are thousands of newspaper which is available. It's not only in the physical copy, it can be a e-content, it can be a e-paper, it can be on your in shots. So there are a lot of information which is very much overflowing to it. Is a individual able to understand, whether the people will be able to understand so much of an information when it is being given to them? The first thing, why people are behind so much of an information, because as I told, we are from the media background. So why media is overloading people with so much of a content? What it is, why people are getting so much of engrossed with these kind of a content? One, the first and the foremost thing is it empowers the people. The very first important thing is any kind of information, irrespective of the subject where we come from, whether I come from media, whether I come from law, whether I come from education, each and every information is very much important. So we as teachers in our respective subjects are empowered because we have a hold on the subject. We can speak for hours together on the particular topic which is interesting to us and which is very subjective to us. So the very first important thing is it empowers the people. Whether it doesn't look into the age, it doesn't look into the designation, it doesn't look into the economical background. The only thing is it empowers the people. The more you get information, the more educative you become. Okay, that's the very first thing. That is, we need information because, and that is what the media is doing. The media is trying to make you people more empowered. The second thing is, it is not only help us to become empowered, but at the same time, it will also help us to understand and to respond to a particular situation. Okay, because when you have a good information, you can react to certain situations. Okay, it gives you a chance to understand the situation and react. We need to be very reactive to certain things. So it also helps us to understand. So that is the reason why we need information. Until and unless we don't have information, it is very difficult for us to understand the situation. So by giving a good proper kind of information, people can be more responsive, people can be more receptive. So that's the second thing. The third important thing is a good information will also help us to lead to good decision. For example, because of this pandemic, there are a lot of decision which has been taken up by the government, and one important thing was getting online or getting into this hybrid kind of a situation. But yes, through this, I'm sitting in Mysore, you people are sitting in Gujarat, some of them are sitting in different parts of the country, but still we are getting connected through the information of pedagogy, information about media, information sociology. So what happens here is we are getting more and more informed. At the same time, it helps us in making a good decision. Tomorrow you take back to your classes a lot of information which you people can share it with your students. It can be an example of Mysore, it can be example of somewhere from Kashmir. So the thing is, it will help you to take some good decision. Okay, so you are more informed. Fourth important thing is it helps the individual to understand the challenges. So as a online thing, we have been put forth through so much of a challenges. People don't know the access of the online thing. People don't understand the languages sometimes. People don't know the technology. People don't know. There are a lot of challenges which have been facing: language barriers, technology barriers, infrastructure barriers. So there are a lot of things, but information will try to understand, and for example, how to do it, how to start a Google class, how to get into Zoom, how to switch on to your video. So there are many individuals who are trying to get used to these kind of challenges. At the same time, it will also help us to adopt to different environment. That is the reason why we need to have more of an information, any information which is usable, any information which is transferable, any information which can helps in the development of the individual has to be understood. The next important thing is, how do we understand? Okay, as I told you, yes, it is very difficult to understand information because if same information will be dealing with different people. For example, the kind of health issues, health, if I give you example of a health issue during the COVID thing, for a doctor it is nothing but a disease. For a poor man it is nothing but a kind of a other kind of a thing. For an educated person it's different. So understanding the different completely depends upon our understanding level. At the same time, how much of thing mentally preparedness you have. One is, you need to understand that the information flow is from different kinds of places. Okay, information comes from everywhere. It can be through papers, it can be through media, it can be through your friends, it can be through family, it can be oral, but there is a huge flow or huge influx of the information. That's also need to be understood. Second thing is, you need to understand where does this information comes from, which are the important sources. What are the important sources? Because sources are very important. Whether these sources are believable, or whether these sources are reliable, whether these sources can be authenticated one. So there are different things which you need to understand. So when it comes to the sources, so you need to understand that people get information on different sources. For example, for me, getting information from a family doctor is different, or getting information from a regular person is different. Okay, so because a doctor knows better than the ordinary person, so the sources are very much important. When these information comes to you, the information is not of the same kind. Many a time it so happens that these information are biased. When I say biased, it depends upon my thinking, it depends upon my way of accepting the things, it depends upon my mindset sometimes. Okay, so especially during this pandemic, people were divided between a lot of things. Okay, whether to take injections, whether it takes vaccination or not, it was a biased. Some people said if you do puja, the corona will go off. Some people said you need to do this. So there are a kind of a biased information which was available to them, so that also needs to be checked in. Then you also have something called as an information neighborhood. Okay, information neighborhood is nothing but from the places where you get. For us, the neighborhood will be family. For us, the neighborhood would be the friends. The neighborhood can be our students, from with whom we share the information regularly, with whom we have a kind of a bonding, and from whom we get this information is the information neighborhood. Sometimes the false information or this biased information usually comes from the very regular people. Okay, that is from the neighbors, that is from the friends. We get a kind of information which is not believable. Then you also need to understand that there is something called as the challenges, how to deal with these challenges. Okay, you need to understand there are different, because many a times it leads to misinformation. Okay, so then the reason why I'm stressing more on this information is because many a times, especially during this pandemic or during this corona time, majority of the news which came to us as taken away the lives of the people. Many of the people have been misled. Many of the people have taken the wrong kind of a treatment. Many of the people were not able to take the proper decision because they were given the information which was not believable. Okay, so now let's understand why this fake news. Because when you speak of information today, everybody believes whatever comes in the social media. Okay, so that is more important. People have stopped believing in newspapers, people have stopped believing in the news what comes on television, but people do believe whatever comes on the social media. Okay, so for them it has become a bible. For them it has become a kind of a what we call do's and don'ts kind of a thing. So whatever comes on WhatsApp, whatever comes on FB, they think it is true. Okay, so you need to understand that false information sometimes cost life, especially during this pandemic. There are good number of there are good number of studies which have happened, which has proven that many of the people have lost their lives because of the wrong information. For example, I'll just give an example. So there was a kind of a fake information, fake videos which was running on the social media where they said, अगर आपको कोरोना नहीं लगना चाहिए, or if you don't want to have corona to be affected, you need to have a cow dung, say what you call you need to cow dung, say you need to bath. Okay, so that kind of information, which is a false information. And there was also a kind of false information which was doing rounds in the social media, where people said that pregnant women can't take vaccination. Okay, so these are the small things. And even the heart patients are not supposed to take vaccination. Diabetic people are not supposed to take vaccination. So what happened was, more than believing the truth, people started believing the false information. And this social media was one of the point where all these things happen. So you need to be careful about that. Second thing is, all the information which was circulated through the social media is not believable. Please understand, 80 to 85% of the information which comes on the social media are just opinions. It is my opinion, it is your opinion, it is others opinion. It is not an authenticated opinion. So social media has become a very easy target, or social media has become an easy channel through which these kind of false information can be circulated. Especially during this pandemic, this happened to a larger extent. Many people have died, and many people didn't even go to the hospitals because people didn't get proper information there. That why it is happening. So if you do all these things on the social media, one thing what can happen is, it will create a panic. People are getting more and more tensed. I don't know how many of you will believe that people thought that the kind of news which was giving in the news channels was much more dangerous than corona. The burning of the dead bodies, people suffering in the hospitals, people crying over the dead bodies, burning of the praise. Okay, but I've seen that how India was shown on the media, especially the regional media. I don't know about Gujarat, but I can speak about my state of Karnataka, where people stopped watching the regional television channels. The main reason, because instead of giving them the solutions for the problem, these channels were giving more and more information which were very scary. Okay, they were showing only the dead bodies. They were showing the people who are suffering on the roads, people dying there, people crying. So what happens was, when you give these kind of information on your social media, your videos or your audio format, people get more and more get panic. So this was the kind of things which you need to be controlled. Okay, then misleading information. And one more important thing was about, it's not only about scaring the people. It's not only that सिर्फ लोगों को डराते नहीं थे, but at the same time they were giving the wrong information. Okay, so you need to take this kind of a thing. You need to have this kind of a medicine. अगर आपको ज़्यादा जुकाम हो रहा है, if you have a throat problem, do this, do that. So these were the kind of, everybody had become a doctor at that particular point of time. So everybody in the house, my mother was also an Ayurvedic doctor. Though she is not an Ayurvedic doctor, but उनसे सुन के, इनसे सुन के, टीवी पे देख के. So what they happened was, there was a lot of misleading information which happened. And what happens at the end, it is leading to a false information, and you are trying to disturb the very fabric of the society. So aisa karke, what people were trying to do is, they were trying to create a kind of a tension. Okay, so that was very wrong, and that happened because of the social media and other media channels also. So why it is to be observed? Why the here my concern as an academician, or my concern as an researcher in media is, this has to be observed. Okay, because we have been doing a lot of activity, we have been working on the specialization of social media to see what kind of content comes in. So one of the important thing is, majority of the time it is manipulated. Please understand, even being be educated also does become a prey. ओके, एक एक बार हम भी क्या बोलते हैं, दैट वी फॉल इनटू द प्रे ऑफ द मैनिपुलेटिव वन. ओके, पता रहता है हमें that it is not true, that is a fake one, that is not possible, but still we do that. Okay, so many a times these are manipulative. Please understand, all the content, all the information which comes on the social media are not worth. So it can be manipulative. अपने हिसाब से जैसे they want to twist the information, they'll do it. So and there are many people who will believe it. So that's manipulative. Second is, many of the time they twist the news. Okay, so the good will become bad there, the bad will become good there. So you have the provision to twist the news. Fabrication हो जाता है एक एक बार. Okay, सच्चे को झूठा माना जाता है, झूठे को सच्चा माना जाता है. नहीं तो they'll try to cover up the informations, and many times it's doctored. Okay, उनके हिसाब से people do the videos and they put it on the social media, which is a doctored one. Okay, so when I speak of information, as an educated, we also need to understand that media literacy is very much important. The main core thing about speaking to you all is also to create a kind of media literacy. How do you read? A media literacy is nothing but how do a particular person understand the information. You take up any news, you take up any news in the newspaper or in a magazine or in the television or in social media, okay, it will be completely different from one another. Okay, apne hisab se we accept certain things and we reject certain things. Okay, but that is not true. As an educated, you need to see the content in an objective way. But what is happening today is becoming more and more subjective. So when you categorize this information, there are two kinds of information which you can see. One is misinformation है क्या, और एक दूसरा will be called as disinformation. The misinformation is a kind of information जिसे हमें पता नहीं रहता that it is wrong. We don't know that it is a wrong information. Something comes on your WhatsApp. Okay, अभी just I'm giving an example. साई बाबा का कुछ message आ जाएगा and you'll say forward it to 10 people. Okay, so that is, so Sapna will not know that that is good or bad, but she she passes that message to other people through a WhatsApp group. So that is not going to harm anything. But what I'm doing is without my knowledge, I'm doing it. Okay, that is called as misinformation. Disinformation is a kind of information where Sapna knows that the information is wrong. Sapna knows the information is fake. But still, in order to disturb others, I keep on sending the message intentionally. That kind of information is called as a disinformation. यहाँ पे जो होता है सोशल मीडिया पे और मे बी फेसबुक पे, disinformation is more. That means intentionally you're trying to create a problem about one particular group of people or one particular categories of people and trying to create a harmful for them. So these are the kind of information what you usually see. Then there are also some kind of a fake news which you can see are called as unscientific claims. Okay, unscientific claims bole to, as I told you, there were rumors. You might also read in newspapers. You might also have said read it in the television and all. Gomutra. Okay, if you drink Gomutra, corona is not going to attack you. So these are the who said unscientific claims. Okay, it is not scientifically proven. Okay, you may have it. That is a different point of view. But don't relate that kind of an incident with corona. But what was happening in this pandemic time was these kind of unscientific claims. Okay, so we have done that is also there. Then we call something called as hawks and rumors. Okay, ज्यादा से ज्यादा rumors फैलता जा रहा था कि एक अगर one person gets a corona in one family, everybody will be affected. No, it depends upon our immunity. It depends upon our capacity of healthy life. Okay, but जो rumor जो spread हो रहा था, that was like that where अगर एक family को आ गया तो everybody used to shun them. Nobody used to visit them. Okay, उसके घर के आगे एक cross लगा दिया जाता था, especially in the first wave. Okay, so there were a lot of rumors which started saying that they died because of this. They died, even somebody died because of heart attack. It was rumored that they died because of corona. Okay, so there were a lot of rumors which helped the people to become much more scary. Then false context. False context bole to, that is also one kind of a fake content which you usually see in the in the social media where दूसरे पिक्चर को दूसरा वर्डिंग लगा के दिखाया जाता है, दूसरे वीडियोस को ओल्ड वीडियोस को नया व्हाट यू कॉल द कैप्शन देके के दिखाया जाता है, wherein you try to manipulate the video of some old years to the present time. Okay, that is also called as a false context. That is very much happening in the social media. Then you also have something called as a manipulated content, especially in the statistics. Okay, media में हमने देखा है कि if there are 10 people who have died, they used to say lakhs of people died, hundreds of people died due to corona. You need to give them the correct statistics. But that was not happening. Especially after that, people started getting very scary and all. Then the government of India said that all the newspapers should carry only the information or the statistics which has been given by the Ministry of Health. Okay, so but what was happening was there was a manipulated content. Picture किसी का picture दिखा रहे थे. Somebody if had died in Kashmir, they used to show it as they have died in Mysore. Okay, some hospitals which is there in Calcutta, अगर कुछ उसके पास oxygen का कुछ problem है, where people are suffering, they used to show it as it is happening in Surat, it is happening in Nagpur. So what used to happen was there was a lot of manipulation of content. Okay, so सूरत के लोगों को ऐसे देख के what will they used to feel? Oh, यहाँ पे हो रहा है, but it was wrong. But the only thing is they were trying to create a kind of a terror in the minds of the people and propaganda. Okay, one of the important things you should also understand is about the propaganda. Okay, especially in the political context, there were a lot of political studies which has happened during corona where people have been misled by the politicians. It can be politicians, it can be political parties. Many of the time it has been misled. So you need to be very careful when you're dealing with these kind of a subject. Okay, so what happens? Okay, agar isi tarah chalta raha to then what is the important? Why it is affecting and what are the kind of effect it has? Okay, especially the social media ke upar, I told you that people have started believing more and more on the social media. People don't believe in the other traditional media. What happens is the very first important thing is लोगों को द ट्रस्टेड इंफॉर्मेशन सोर्सेज जो है, जो न्यूज़पेपर्स है और जो दिल्ली दूरदर्शन है, ऑल इंडिया रेडियो है, उसके ऊपर से पीपल हैव लॉस्ट द ट्रस्ट. पीपल डोंट बिलीव देम एनी मोर. ओके, बिकॉज पीपल थिंक व्हाट्सएप पे जो आता है वही सही है, जो एफबी पे आता है वही सही है. एफबी पे कहीं पे किसी somebody might have sat somewhere and they have sent a message. Okay, that becomes viral. The person doesn't know the पीछे का भी कुछ पता नहीं, आगे का भी कुछ पता नहीं, but he sent some messages and that becomes viral. Okay, so that is one of the things. Second thing is you're trying to create the confusion in the minds of the people. Okay, लोगों को आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा confusion करा रहे हो. Okay, so there was a confusion which says that Covaxin people can't use what do you call other kind of Covaxin people have to get the same kind of injection, or it has to be done within. Pehle they were telling that 27 days ke baad you need to go with the vaccination. Then they said 50 days. Then they said 84 days. So there was a kind of a confusion in the minds of the people. Okay, so you create that confusion. But now everybody knows that what is the thing. People go to the public health center. People go to the hospitals. They get the things done. But pehle first wave and second wave mein there was a lot of confusion. Okay, because people जो भी कुछ बोल रहा है people used to believe them. Okay, third is the reason why it is happening is because you want to spread fear. Okay, violence create हो जाता है, chaos शुरू हो जाता है. You might have seen in the hospitals, गुजरात का example ले लो, और maybe Karnataka state का ले लो, or maybe you can take it the examples of Tamil Nadu, anything, Maharashtra, whatever the examples you take. People used to show the gory pictures of the hospitals. People used to show the gory pictures of the doctors sleeping on the ground, wearing that mask, wearing that PP kits and all. So it was a kind of a fear. Many of the people who went to the hospital for other kind of a treatment died because seeing the PP kits. Okay, you might have seen a lot of news stories like that. So these kind of fake content was done so that it can lead to a kind of a chaos. Okay, then stereotyping. Okay, stereotyping बोले तो you corner somebody. Okay, you target at some particular person and you do it. I'm just giving an example. This is a very it is from the academic point of view I'm been telling, and also as a media researcher I'm telling you. Okay, it should not be taken in any other sense. Stereotyping. So when this first wave of corona thing happened, very first thing when it happened, so there was a particular category of people who said like everything is happening because of tablighs. Okay, so they said, okay, tablighs are the people who are doing this. So that was a wrong thing. So see, corona or the pandemic doesn't affect people seeing their age, people seeing the caste, the creed, the religion, gender. No, it is very common to everybody. But what did the media do? They started stereotyping somebody. They said this particular religion people are spreading this particular gender people are doing this particular religion is. No, that's wrong. But what happened was stereotyping thing happened more on the social media. Okay, uska picture laga ke, inka picture laga ke. So they used to show the people in their with their communities, with their backgrounds. So these become one of the kind of a terror in the minds of the people. Then as I told, racism. Okay, so again, northeastern people wale. Okay, so there was many lot of things. Okay, in terms of black color, in terms of white, you might have seen it in US. In US, it was a very big issue. I don't know how many of you are aware of that. That because US media usually shuns all those kinds of a thing, but there was a kind of a news where it said that during when the first wave of corona happened, the American government or the American states preferred the Americans nationals to be given the vaccination first, followed by the black Americans, then followed by the other categories of people. So that was a kind of a racism. So racism is nothing to do with the corona. Racism is nothing to do with the vaccination. Racism is nothing to do with the life. But you have been dividing. Who is doing that? It can be in the form of the media. It can be form of the social media activities. So these kind of things needs to be questioned. These are the kinds of things which have made the effect. It has affected more on like this. Then law and order situation, as you all know, there was a lot of disturbances of the law and order. The police department was been put into action. The hospitals were been put into actions. You know, the situation was very bad. People never even got a place to burn the body. I don't know, in Bangalore, to be very frank, in the very first thing, there were around 80 to 100 people who used to die. You must be also knowing in your states, respective states. People in Karnataka, people have burnt the bodies in the park. because there was no graveyard, there was no place where they can go and burn the body. It was full. Bodies were being kept outside the mortuary for 2 days, 3 days. The body started what you call getting spoiled. Okay, it was getting decayed. So there was a law and order situation. Health department was running, police department was running, the commissioner office was running, the municipality was running. So these kind of things, all thanks to our social media, because they were trying to show you the darker side of the things rather than the positive side of the things. Then public health, as we all know, then there is a lot of the public health. Always remember, whenever you see this information, okay, this is for all of us, because we'll be sharing with the students tomorrow, or maybe when you people speak with your family, friends and all. So you always understand, any kind of information which comes to you on the social media, it has to be very alerted. We need to be more alerted. Okay, one important thing is, every information which comes to you will have a purpose or a goal. But we as the takers, because we are on the receiving end, okay, we are the people who will listen to all those things. So please understand that every information will have a different purpose. So it need not have to affect me. If it has affected Sapna, it need not have to affect all 10 of us. Okay, it can be for different things. So you need to understand that. Second thing is, these kind of content, what you see on the social media, are created by the people who are different set of people. Okay, I'm a creator. I'll sit in somewhere in Assam, I sit somewhere in Kashmir, I sit somewhere in Mysore. I post something on my FB, or I make a video and put it on my Facebook or WhatsApp. That becomes viral. So you need to understand what is the kind of mindset that person has who is creating, because it will be affecting everybody. Okay, that is what is happening, because it is a free of cost. There is no proper law in our country which can control these kind of things. That is the reason why it has become a easy access for the people. So please understand that it is created by different set of people, and we need not have to be scared of everything. Okay, then every information will go through different process. Okay, acceptance level, because educated people will see in a different way, uneducated people will see in a different way, women will see in a different way, children will see in a different way. So it has got its own different process. Okay, so you need not accept everything. Okay, then and it will have an intention. Every information whatever you send will have a different outcome. Okay, that we have to be very much understood. Okay, then when I see information, please always understand, whenever you see this information on social media, you can categorize that information. Okay, information is information, but even in that information there are different categories of information. The very first kind of information is called as a raw information. Okay, जो government जो बोलता है, the government passes in regulation or a policy which comes to the media, it is a raw information. Okay, but you need to check whether it is the right kind of source it is coming from. Agar it is come from the PMO office, that means it is checked, cross-checked. Okay, whether it comes from the friends Facebook, that means you need to understand, because whether the person is able to speak anything about the government. Okay, so there are some things called as a raw information. For example, the WHO, the World Health Organization, as soon as the World Health Organization got about this pandemic thing and all, they started releasing the press releases. Okay, news ke upar, and they used to started giving more and more information about the health, how the people had to be very careful, how the countries have to take care, the domestic flight, the international flight, everything was stopped, the trains were stopped, the shops were closed. Okay, so the raw information is nothing but the real information which comes from the organization. Second is, you should understand that in social media there are more of advertisements. Okay, almost all the information which comes on the social media need not be information, it can be advertising. Okay, they want to advertise about themselves. A company wants to advertise about their own product. Okay, Covaxin, COVID, prefix, a lot of things are there, Pfizer. Okay, so they want to advertise. I'm not speaking of, I'm just giving you the example, but it can be the news or the information can be advertising also. Advertising is nothing but you want to attract the people towards you. Okay, third is, information can also be publicity. Okay, a company wants to have a publicity about themselves, an individual want to have a publicity about themselves, the government wants to have a publicity about themselves. It is up to them. Okay, you are trying to play with the emotions of the people. Okay, then it can be a propaganda, especially propaganda which happened during the epidemic was spreading the information. Okay, getting the people, propaganda. Okay, asking them not to do. I'm just giving a small example of how a political thing can be done. Okay, I'm just giving an example. It's an open secret and you don't have to hide from anything. When this Covaxin and Covishield thing was been released by the government in the first wave, during the first wave, because the production was happening very less. Okay, and the country, they said, we'll do it in the senior citizens first, then the below 40, then below 20. So that was the kind of a thing which happened. So when the first government introduced this Covaxin and Covishield, when it happened, the SP government, it is from the Uttar Pradesh government, okay, the political party, one particular political party, Samajwadi political party, they said they're not going to take the vaccination. Okay, because they said it has been done from the central government and they don't want to take it. So these kind of propaganda for their political mileages have also stalled. Okay, that are all the case studies which you need to understand, that it is for the people. See, here we don't see the caste, we don't see the political party, we don't see the inclination, we don't see the ideologies. But it was this particular epidemic, this particular pandemic, COVID, corona, whatever we call it as, was made as a big political tool for their own propaganda. So that was the thanks to again social media for popularizing this. Then for some of them it is entertainment. Even during corona, the most number of videos, if you look into YouTube, the most number of trolls, the most number of memes. Okay, we have done a study which shows that किसी देश में इतना memes, इतना ट्रोलिंग नहीं हुआ है जितना हमने कोरोना के ऊपर किया है. Okay, for us it has become an entertainment. As and when the days pass, you must be knowing that okay, house arrest में होने के बाद husband का, then wives का, family का, they started making fun of corona itself. Because for them it has become more entertainment. Music lagane ka, you must have seen that, right? How corona advertisements were being made. So for them, it had become an entertainment also. See, the journalism comes at the sixth spot. People have not taken the information very seriously. And opinion. Okay, you should also understand that there are opinions of the people. So when you look into the things, always remember whatever you see on this social media, it can be facts. Okay, it can be classified into 5 important categories. One is to facts. Facts bole to, which comes from the authentic information, which is very correct, which is believable, and which has to be followed. Okay, these are the facts which comes from the government. The second is it is an analysis. What the news channel does is an analysis. Okay, they try to compare two things. Okay, they try to compare with the Covaxin and Covishield. So they do the analysis and they present the facts towards you. So it becomes an analysis. Then you have opinions. There are India mein to democracy, everybody has a right to speak, everybody has a right to opinion. Okay, you can have your opinion, I can have my own opinion, that is my personal opinion. But even the social media also started giving more importance to this opinion. Okay, people follow those opinions. Then misleading and incomplete. Pura information bhi nahi dete, somewhere it is very incomplete. Okay, and you're trying to mislead the people to different ways. So you have to be very careful. Then inaccurate. Okay, it is not at all accurate. Okay, it's not cross-check bhi nahi hua hai. I don't know, many of the people said that if you have a hot water, if you gargle with hot water, with you have a long ke saath, agar aap chewte raho, if you keep on chewing the long or the thing clove in your mouth, corona will not come. Okay, so those kind of things. Okay, you might have seen, and somebody said that if you have this what they call rangoli daloge karke samne to corona nahi aayega. So there's a lot of inaccurate content which was there in the particular thing. So then what is manipulated? Okay, so when you speak of the social media, there are many things which are manipulated, because I told you there are a lot of information which comes to you on the social media. Some are believable, some are not believable, but there are many manipulations which takes place. Okay, there are a lot of manipulations which takes place. The first and the foremost in manipulation is the images. Logon ko, they know so much of technology that they know how to morph the pictures. ओके किसी का सर डाल के किसी का बॉडी हो जाता है, किसी का बॉडी के ऊपर किसी का सर लगा देते हैं. ओके, सो दोस आर दे कैन मैनिपुलेट विद द इमेजेस. इवन इफ यू सी 2 dead bodies being there, you can make it as 10 bodies and you make to believe that there are 10 bodies, not only 2 bodies. Okay, so images can be manipulated. Then real video. Okay, जो वीडियो जो है वो रियल है, बट ऑडियो जो है वो रॉन्ग है. Okay, but I've seen that. Okay, where they try to manipulate with the दूसरों का voice over लगा के. So that also can be done. Then there are also something called as the shallow fakes. Okay, shallow fakes are nothing but you do a basic manipulation. 0 से 30 सेकंड तक एक वीडियो, फिर 30 सेकंड से 60 सेकंड तक दूसरा वीडियो डाल देते, फिर वापस वही वीडियोस आ जाता है. सो दीस आर समथिंग कॉल्ड एज शैलो फेक्स. ओके, दिस आर समथिंग कॉल्ड एज मैनिपुलेशन व्हिच हैपेंस. बट लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि दैट व्हाट दे आर सीइंग इज अ रियल वीडियो, बट एक्चुअली इट इज द combination of 10 to 15 kind of a video. Okay, so that can also be manipulated. You have to be very careful about it. Then as I told, misinformation and disinformation is overloaded. There are a lot of misinformation which is happening in the country. You need to be very then for statistics. Okay, when I said about statistics, it's also very wrong thing. So what should be done? Okay, is when you have these kind of a context, okay, when you have so much number of information, when you know that the people are not following, or what should be done? Okay, what is the best thing you can do? One is पहले बोल देती हूँ कि the reason why social media has become one of the best place is India में बहुत market है. The one second important thing is India में जो लोग फेस मोबाइल यूज कर रहे हैं, and the people who are using so much of a data here, the people are using so much obsessed, I should say, इतना obsession है हमें social media के ऊपर, that there is no country in the world, majority of the market is from India only. The majority of the content YouTube पे, the kind of content what you develop every day is completely different. Okay, so what should be done? And also remember, in India there are no rules. The reason why people are doing the all bad things, all kind of contents here, I told you, bad content, misleading content, disappropriate content. The thing is, we don't have a proper law which can control this. Okay, because for us it is a democratic country, and you can't stop them from doing this. Okay, and that is also one of them. But France is the only country in the whole world that has got a rules and regulations, so we need to look into that aspect also. So as an educated person, or as a people from this thing, what should be done? One and the foremost thing is, a normal person or like an educated person like us, what we can do is, you can have a verification of the sources. Kahan se aaya, kab aaya, whether it is true. At least you should give it a thought. Instead of forwarding to somebody else, at least first you should need to check whether जो भेजा है वो सही है कि नहीं. At least that much of. If you know that this kind of content is going to harm somebody, अगर मैं ऐसे वाला picture और ऐसे वाला video और ऐसे वाला WhatsApp message अगर मैं forward कर रहा हूँ मेरे 256 friends को, the 256 will become 570 plus. Then again it will go on keeping. Okay, it keeps on doubling, it keeps on manipulating, and it keeps on increasing. So अगर आपने यही पे उसको रोक दिया, तो that means you are stopping some bad information from flowing, right? So you need to check the verification of the source. That is one thing you can do. Second thing is, try to see whether the story has got some supporting evidence. 100 people died because of train accident. Try to check it with the railway the department, or try to check with some channels, or try to check it with some the authentic source, or the police department, or the health department, to see whether so log mare hain ki nahi. People might have injured, people might 10 people mare honge, 90 people might have injured, but people will say 100 people have died. Okay, so there are, so you need to have a supporting evidence. That is also. Third is, check the date of publication. That is very much necessary, because many of the time, as I told you, 5 years wala old video abhi laga ke they'll keep showing the same thing. So you know that abhi RCB ka kuch match failure ho gaya, to the very thing is, the old video ko leke they'll start using for now. So people will tend to believe that the new video is of present thing which is happening in Dubai. So these are some of the things what you people can do. Last but not the least is, you have to ask the experts. Okay, so as a media professionals, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to educate the people about this media literacy, and we are also trying to tell the people that usage of social media is very necessary. You can't lead a life, because we are so much of engrossed. हमारे life में इतना डल चुका है that social media can't separate it, but you can be much more alert. Okay, we need to be more alert when using the particular certain things. You need to be a little bit cautious. You need to be very cautious when you're doing all these kinds of the contents. Okay, so you can ask experts, or you can take a small especially for us, especially you can tell our students in the classrooms, we can tell students not to spread false information, cross check the information. Something, if they get to know something, पहले confirm कर लो कि वो सच है कि नहीं, then you forward it without any kind of for example, just give an example. Is can be some, I'm giving an example because in very recently there was a particular case about a rape thing. The whole video was been shot and it was been circulated. Why you need to circulate that video of the rape of the girl to everybody else? Are you not spoiling the minds of the people? Are you not instigating the people to do the same kind of a crime? Are you not bringing down the value of a girl in front of everybody? Okay, so these kind of things. So the thing is, we need to have a kind of a self-regulation. That is very much important. Okay, so usage of social media is very important. My whole concept here is, the information is there. But we should know, as an educated person or as a teacher, we should also try to alert others if somebody is doing something wrong. Agar my nephew is doing something wrong, agar my family mein pata hai ki that is wrong thing, but still if they're doing, I should stop them, because I'm an expert or I'm a person who's teaching this every day. So I should be cautious. So I should educate the people. I don't tell that you can educate each and everybody every day. Okay, that's not at all possible. But the thing is, we have to see that we can bring in a kind of alertness, we can bring in a kind of an alertness for the people. At the same time, see that these kind of things will not be exaggerated, it will not be taken more into the people. Okay, so these are the some of the basic things as teachers what we need to do. And we are also trying to put in these kind of a media literacy, because what has happened here is, India being such a democratic country, the political things are different, the religion difference are things are different. Okay, so we what we are supposed to do is we need to understand the situation, at least for children's, at least from a student's point of view. We need to look into the student's point of view also. Okay, youngsters can be molded, okay, their mentality can be molded. So there are bad ways and there are good ways of using the social media. But as teachers or as educators, what we can do is, जो काम गलत कर रहे हैं, they'll be doing it, but there has to be some check, there has to be some regulations. What we are doing, trying to do here is, India doesn't have this kind of a regulation. India don't have a policy. India don't have a law. We have certain IT laws. We have certain cyber crimes. We have, but how much of us are educated? Okay, why for me creating a video and sending it, for me it is fun, for me it is entertainment, but for somebody it is a life threatening thing. People have died because of that, people have lost their life because of that, people have lost their reputation because of that. So we need to check about all these kind of a thing. Okay, so media literacy for a teacher, media literacy for a student are the important things which you need to include in the curriculum. Okay, according to this new NEP which has come in right now, National Education Policy, so there is a need. If everybody says you need to do the programs which is student centric, okay, it speaks about the culture and what is the kind of culture we are spreading. We are not spreading any kind of a drugs. We need not have to do that. Okay, so TikTok, yeah, so okay, we have something else. We have got reels now. Fine, you do it, but if it is an entertainment, fine, but not bringing down the modesty of a woman, for not bringing the modesty of the society, or speaking something bad or the ill of the society. So these are the kinds of things which we need to understand. And the whole session was about the information, the use of social media, the kind of fake content which is there. Because of this fake content, how many people have died? Just keeping in view the small examples of the corona I just told you, but there are good number of things which can be discussed, which can be told. With this 1 hour, it was very highly difficult for us. So whatever we told was just a tip of the iceberg what we have discussed. But this necessary for us. But at least as teachers, we people can also enroll. I'm just telling you, it is just a suggestion, because you'll be carrying back a load of information. This 1 week may up to you'll be overloaded with a lot of information. But what is that you're going to share with your students? What is that you people are going to tell them and make them practice? हमारे यहाँ जो होता है कि we learn a lot, we understand, but when it comes to practice के लिए जब होता है, when you want to implement certain thing, we don't put it into practicality. Okay, so that is the thing. And I don't say that I as Sapna is a fact chala checker, I'm a Google certified trainer for this fact chala where we teach the people about this media literacy. I don't say that I can change everybody's perception, because that is a very strong thing to get into the mind. But the thing is, slow and steadily, let us start this thing. Let us start a campaign. Instead of posting something bad in the FB or something, a song on the FB, let us speak about the reality. Okay, let us speak something about the awareness, creating awareness. Okay, at least our circle, with I have around 2,000 friends on FB. So at least I can educate my 2,000 friends. Okay, it is like drop by drop, you can just educate the people, and it is not going to change overnight. But by now, by 2020, when if we start, maybe by 2025, 26, over the period of time, people will understand the pros and cons of the social media. So people will become little bit awareness. Okay, I'm just telling you a small example. I'll end up with a small example. So even I'm a very Sai Baba devotee. Okay, it's not every Thursdays we pray, we do fasting, every fine. Okay, so somebody sends a message. Okay, Sai Baba, Charita, something. Please pass it on to 15 people. Please pass it on 21 people. If not, some bad omen will happen. I'm an educated person. Okay, I know whatever they're telling is wrong. But still, just because I'm a Sai Baba devotee, I'll try to send it to her. This is harmless, okay, because you're just trying to spread some good things. Fine, it is okay, because it is not going to harm anybody. किसी को तो नुकसान तो नहीं है. जो पढ़ना चाहते हैं पढ़ो, नहीं तो नहीं. Even if you are a believer, you can believe it or no. But if the same kind of a person sends some bad thing, if it is a bad video, or it is a pornography, or if it is something related to some hatred speech, or it can be hatred visuals, hatred photographs, just imagine what would be the impact of others. Okay, so these are the things which you need to understand, and you have to evaluate before doing certain things. the laws are very strong there. But हमारे यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Though people know it is wrong, people are doing it. हमारे यहाँ we don't have a strong laws where people can be put behind bars. Just fine लगा देते हैं 10,000 20,000 का, and they leave that person. The person will do the same thing again. Once he come back, he'll do the same kind of a thing.
Right, ma'am.
So that's the reason I'm telling you that there should be a campaign. The educated class or जो हम भी use करते हैं. I don't say I don't use Facebook. I'm a very active social phase user. But the thing is, how do you use it? How methodologically you use it? For what purpose you use? That is very much important. हमारे यार, as I told, 90% it is waste, it is entertainment, it is for propaganda, publicity के लिए होता है. But 10% is for education. So it should be ulta. Okay, it should be at least 50-60% should be education wise, information wise. Okay, so that kind of mentality has to be changed. So that is where we are trying to bring in a media literacy among the people. We're trying to bring that kind of a thought in the minds of the people that use the things very carefully. Okay, that's yeah.
मैम, ये गवर्नमेंट के जो न्यूज रहते हैं, ऑल इंडिया रेडियो, दूरदर्शन, ये स्क्रीन होते हैं, बार बार चेक होती है, उसमें फॉल्स न्यूज एक भी नहीं जाती है. मगर जो प्राइवेट जो है A to Z जो चैनल्स है न्यूज, हर दिन में कम से कम एक ही न्यूज बार बार करके पैनिक कर देते हैं. ये इनके ऊपर कुछ कंट्रोल होना चाहिए.
So that's what I'm telling you. Private channels are all run by politicians. Private channels are all run by media barons. Okay, they are the who are investing, and they don't want laws. They don't want any kind of a regulation. There is nobody. Government only doesn't want to have a regulation. No. अगर आपने regulation,
मैडम, गवर्नमेंट का मीडिया अंडर कंट्रोल है, प्राइवेट नहीं है.
A private we don't have that, because ours earlier what used to happen was FDI, what you call foreign direct investment में जो था, media used to have only 26% stake था. So rest of the thing used to be controlled by the government. अभी तो हमारे यहाँ 100% FDI का freedom है, where people from abroad can come and invest in the country. So when somebody like Warren Brothers or the Eros and they all come and invest in India, they want to have their own rules and regulations. So they are not in the hands of the people, because we wanted privatization. We want job for the people. People के लिए job चाहिए, people के लिए entertainment चाहिए. So we are okay with it. So we are open up the doors, and we are neglecting the laws and the culture of the country. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank you. All the best. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.